Hi, Kate. Welcome to Scalable.
Hi, lovely to meet you.
We're so excited to have you here. First, because we're both huge Stanley fans. I actually have my Stanley Cup right here with me today.
Yay.
I do feel like we're your core audience these days, though that was not always the case. So tell us a little bit about the brand and marketing strategy behind how the Quencher became such a staple among millennial and Gen Z women.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, before I'm going to take a big step back. I'm going to take a big step back 113 years because that's how long Stanley has been around for. And our founder, William Stanley Jr., was an inventor and a creator. He is actually the modern founder of how electricity became scalable and usable, which is incredible. But he also invented the double-walled steel vacuum, which allows things to stay hot or stay cold. That has facilitated so much incredible opportunity for Americans and now people all over the world. First and foremost, he allowed people to take food and beverages to work, which really was a big part of the Industrial Revolution. Then kind of flash forward to the 1950s when people in America started exploring the great outdoors. Our products were there allowing people to go camping and hiking and fishing. And we really developed this incredible connection with the American population for outdoors. So that's where a lot of people come up to me in the street and say, my grandfather had a Stanley, and they really relate to this, like the old school version of Stanley, which is this green, hammer-tone green flask type of product. But then after that period, we really started investing in products that are for hydration. And this is exactly what you're referring to, Jasmine, that we partnered with some influencers to create this product called the Quencher and really revolutionize the hydration category. Like, think about it. Before that product, you just didn't see people walking around with these huge hydration vessels and straws. So it just wasn't a thing. Not only do we have like the best product that has a hyper fantastic quality, but we really invest into the look of product that allows people to express who they are. So the color, the finish of it, the collaborations, we've collaborated with Barbie, Olivia Rodrigo, Lainey Wilson, so many people. But now we're entering into a new phase with like a very incredible, diverse portfolio of products and really reaching new audiences and growing through international means. So it's a very exciting time for Stanley.
So we definitely want to talk to you about the new phase of growth. But before we go there, just a little bit more about how you partnered with influencers around the Quencher, because I think Kaya and I, both of us remember, I think back in like 2020 when it was the time of hot girl walks and, you saw these TikToks and Instagram videos of girls, with their Quenchers out on a walk. So what was that like for you, and how did you approach these partnerships at the time?
It really did facilitate so much of Stanley's popularity. Well, first and foremost, we partnered with a group of moms in Utah. This is back before the pandemic. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but there is a platform called the Buy Guide. And actually, those influencers reached out to Stanley. They were the first ones who said, like, we love your product. It's the best. Like, we can fill it up in the morning, pick up our kids from school, do our errands all day, and, it keeps us hydrated. And so they were kind of the first group of influencers that, like, made this light bulb go off of, okay, there are people who love our products who really want to spread the word for us. So we partnered with the Buy Guide, and that was really the first group of influencers who just skyrocketed Stanley's visibility and growth. And then we realized, okay, that is like quite a commercial relationship. They're basically influencing people to buy products, but there's a bigger opportunity for us in the space of wellness for us to connect with people who are, really invested in looking good, feeling good, staying hydrated, taking supplements. And so we started to build relationships with groups of influencers and individual influencers who are like very authentic in that space, that have developed following around topics like food preparation, health and well-being. And that was really like the stepping off point for us to connect with that kind of creator economy that we have done such a great job of staying connected to.
I love that you say that, because the whole industry of the creator economy started with mommy bloggers, even before
Yes.
Instagram. So women and
Yes.
moms in particular are really the heart of this industry. So it makes so much sense that that's where it started. As you mentioned, the water bottle market has exploded since then, including competitors for Stanley, dupes. What does the next chapter of growth look like for Stanley, and how are you planning to diversify beyond, this hit product?
Yeah, you're right. We're in a space that has relatively low barriers to entry. So we do have a lot of competition. And we take that as like a compliment, to be honest. But we know that we're so much more than just a water bottle brand or a hydration brand. So we have been investing a lot of time thinking about how we can create and build on the other categories that we're involved in. So first of those is soft goods. Think about coolers, first of all. There's a lot of products there that are very masculine, but there aren't many products there that are made specifically for women. And so we do invest a lot of time and energy thinking about how we can broaden that category and how we can create products that are for a broader audience. So we have soft coolers, backpacks, tote bags, lots of wonderful products that are coming to market right now that have a very wonderful appeal, especially to women. And then other categories like cafe are really important to us.
And you just had another launch with Vitaliz. So tell us a little bit about how that fits in with your product mix.
Yeah, absolutely. Vitalize is a collection of products like bags, backpacks, totes, things like that, that just solve a lot of problems for people's day-to-day life. A lot of great solutions there. So bags that have insulation in them if you're taking your lunch to work, bags that have specially dedicated places for your water bottle. The collection also has a fantastic product. It's a shaker, the Vitalize shaker, and it's a double wall vacuum, so it stays really cold, but it has a compartment on the bottom of the shaker that you can store your protein powder or your supplements and not get all messy.
Tell us a little bit more about how you're bringing that to life. I mean, there is obviously a market for women there, but it also sounds like the market could be a lot broader. So maybe it's a little bit of a different
Yes.
approach than targeting, say, mommy bloggers, right? So how are you thinking about it this time around, and what's the same and what's different than before?
Great question, Jasmine. So we recently underwent a very broad body of research to find out who our consumers are and, insights about their life and what they want from us. And of course, that means men and women and people of all different ages. So I would say that being, single-mindedly associated with mommy bloggers is a thing of the past for Stanley, that we know, we need to be inclusive and thinking about how we're solving problems and creating products for a broader audience. And so one example there is creating products for men that are very related to their training or sport lifestyle. And the Vitalize shaker is a really good example there, right? That you can use it as a water bottle. You can take it to the gym with you. You can have your protein powder ready to go so that post-workout, it's everything that you need is on hand and super convenient for your lifestyle. So absolutely, the opportunity for us to grow is through our product diversification, our audience growth, and also our international growth.
Does that then mean working with kind of more male influencers as well?
Yes, you probably can see that in the past 12 months, we've really branched out, not just in influencers, but I'm going to start with like our big brand partnerships. We have a multi-year partnership with Lionel Messi, and he has been such a wonderful partner to open us up for men and women, but people who are really, really engaged with sport and fitness, and especially with soccer. And we know what an incredible appeal he has to so many young men. So we've created a collaborative product with Messi that we're on our fourth iteration now, which is wonderful. Like going into the World Cup, we know that we're going to have fantastic engagement with that product. You can also see that we've invested partnerships with people like Post Malone, so tapping into current culture, making sure that we're hyper relevant with what's on trend for for all different types of consumers.
So you mentioned international expansion, and now you told us a little bit about Leo Messi, who is Argentine, of course, although he's become really popular here in the US. So tell us a little bit about how you're planning on expanding globally. I mean, what are some of the biggest differences between, say, your strategy in Europe or EMEA than here in the US?
We're really fortunate that we're a recognizable, in many cases, in many countries, household name. The approach for us is we know that we've got this high level of awareness. We need local relevance, which means that we have a different approach to people and brands and entities that we partner with in Europe than we would, say, in Latin America, Asia Pacific, or in North America. A really good example of that is we have, as I mentioned, Leo Messi as kind of a global beacon for soccer, or depending where you're from, call it football. But then in Europe, we have recently launched and developed partnerships with several Premier League football clubs that have deep local relevance and community following. So that is the likes of Arsenal, the London club that have deep community ties. We just launched a partnership with Juventus, which allows us to get a little bit into continental Europe, as well as Paris Saint-Germain. And when we build out these partnerships, we really go to the fans and to the players to connect really authentic storytelling to build up that local relevance. So that's probably a strongest example I can share with you of having local connectivity in different parts of the world.
Obviously, you have this huge, proof point with the Stanley Cup, as people call it on TikTok. But what does it mean for a heritage brand to really dive into social media in the way that you have?
I feel very fortunate that both the senior leadership team at Stanley, my peers, but also our ownership group are very trusting. And they've definitely allowed the brand team and the marketing team to create a social first marketing plan and brand strategy. I think that's essential in today's world. If you're creating campaign content, but you're not thinking about socially native content, then you miss the mark. That's something that's really embedded in our team. And we have to trust creators. We have to trust our young internal, young in their career marketing team to create tools and content and engagement that is really social first. And essentially something that we like to remind ourselves all the time is that social media today is not it's not a platform that you want to seek to absolutely control all the time. It's essentially a massive group chat, and you have to be able to vibe off what's happening in the current moment. And that's why reactive content, being really fast, being really connected to what's happening in real-time conversation is critical for success.
What does that look like for you at Stanley? I mean, I think reacting to content is a challenge for a lot of brands, not just heritage brands, figuring out, which content to react to, which trends to maybe not jump on. What do those conversations look like internally?
Well, we like to say that we are the oldest startup brand in the world. It's we're a heritage brand. We have 113 years of legacy. And I think you can see that as something that's either going to keep you conservative and slow you down, or you can see it as something that okay, we know who we are, and that allows us to be much more real time and reactive to what's going on. And we try to keep that, inventiveness, ingenuity of a startup brand and make sure that we're holding on to that as a value when it comes to social content creation. What it means specifically, Jasmine, is we try to invest a lot in social moderation. So we have, team members who are dedicated to social listening, community moderation. We put that on a pedestal. We like to really listen to what our consumers are saying and make sure that we're responding to it in real time.
If you could give one piece of advice to a legacy brand that is looking to social media and to creators to reinvent themselves or to become more relevant, what would that be?
I think it's a moment to not be overly precious. Just to see it as things are always moving. People don't necessarily remember what happened yesterday. So just go with the flow. Get involved, get real time with your audience. Really invest into how you can react and respond to what's happening in their world. I'll give you an example of that. Several years ago, there was a woman who had her Stanley in her car, and very unfortunately, her car caught on fire. She uploaded the video and it was everywhere. It was on TikTok, it was on Facebook, it had millions and millions and millions of views. And the reason that it had so much engagement is because the chassis of her car was completely burnt out, but the ice in her Stanley cup was still ice. It was still frozen. And so she posted it saying like, wow, the Stanley cup is such a high quality of keeping things cold that it survived a car fire. And the cup was still intact. And in real time, we responded to that video. Our president at the time posted a video saying how sorry he was that had happened. We bought her a new car. And that engagement, it absolutely skyrocketed Stanley's prevalence at that time. It was absolutely through the roof. And so that's an example for me of what I, try to lead the team with, and that I say to other brands at the moment, just like lean into those moments, even if they're moments that feel, you're a little trepidatious about whether to engage with it or not. That's what people want today. They don't want to hear necessarily what you think about your brand. They want to share what other people think about it. And that means really leaning into the conversation.
Okay, Kate, rapid fire. What is your favorite Stanley Cup color?
Oh, rose quartz.
What's been your biggest brand win?
I think a partnership with Lionel Messi, the greatest footballer of all time. It's pretty incredible.
One piece of advice for creators who want to work with Stanley.
Call us. I mean, we're very responsive. Get in touch. We always look for people, especially creators that have unique ideas about how to be connected to food and beverage culture. It's really important to us.
One piece of advice for brands that are looking to stay relevant.
Just listen to your consumer. That's really what you need to do. Keep your ear to the ground.
What's the biggest misconception about the Stanley brand?
I think a lot of people have that relationship with Stanley from, yesterday, the green, authentic product that their dad or their granddad used when they went on camping trips. And so a lot of people are not up to speed on what a cultural icon Stanley has become in the last 5 years.
Okay, last one. Dream partnership.
Dream partnership. I mean, we've been sending a lot of product to Taylor Swift.
I am so down for that. I talk about Taylor Swift on every podcast, and it didn't come up on today's yet, so thank you.
She's pretty amazing.
Thank you so much for joining us, Kate. We so appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Lovely to talk with you both.